Good morning, class. Let us continue with our lecture on the Revised Corporation Code of the Philippines. We will be talking about Title 11, NonStock Corporation. So first, let us define what a non-stock corporation is. If you remember, class, in our discussions in Title 1, we already talked about this in passing when we discussed yung three kinds of corporations. So, ito yung pangalawang klase. The first one being stock and the last one being a one-person corporation. So anyway, this is defined in Section 86. Ano ang sabi sa Section 86? A non-stock corporation is a corporation where no part of its income is distributable as dividends to its members, trustees, or officers, subject to the provisions of the Revised Corporation Code of the Philippines on dissolution. So based solely on the definition of a non-stock corporation, you have to remember two things. Number one, it may have income, but the income is only incidental. And number two, if ever it has income, it is not distributable as dividends to the members, trustees, or officers. Wala silang matatanggap na dividends. So yun ang dalawang bagay na kailangan nating tandaan pagdating sa non-stock corporations. What else? Purposes of a non-stock corporation as already enumerated in Section 87. So these are the allowable purposes. Pwede ito para sa isang non-stock corporation. So anyway, they may be organized for charitable. What else? Religious. Charitable, yung nagbibigay. Religious, yun yung alam nyo na, yung alive, yung professional, cultural, fraternal, literary, scientific, social, civic, service, or other similar purposes. So all of these, class, are allowable purposes for which to incorporate a non-stock corporation. Pwede mo rin naman silang i-combine. Religious na nga siya, charitable pa siya. So pwede naman kung isa kang dakila at gusto mong gawin yung mga ganyang klase ng purposes. So anyway, please take note also of the power to make profits and engage in business. So as I've said a while ago, may income ang isang non-stock corporation. And as I've said before, sa Title 1 pa lamang, mayroon din namang pera kasi talaga originally ang isang non-stock corporation. Why? At saan ang galing yung pera nila? Contributions from the members. Remember sa Articles of Incorporation, i-enumerate dun kung magkano ang kinontribute ng bawat isang member sa non-stock corporation. Sa articles pa lang, alam mo na meron din namang umiikot na pera ang isang non-stock corporation. Now, even if there is an operating fund, there is also, you have to take note of the non-profit character of non-stock corporations. Anong ibig sabihin yan? It cannot engage in business with the object of making profit. So, paano yan? Kakasabi ko lang kanina na may income, may contributions. Pero, bakit hindi siya pwedeng mag-engage in business with the object of making profit? Kasi, remember, ang character ng non-stock ay hindi profit-making. Ang stock corporations ang profit-making. Ngayon, pagka nagkaroon ng profit ang isang non-stock corporation, it is, remember, incidental profit obtained from operations. So, nagkataon lang na meron silang profit. So, general rule, it is not allowed to engage in business. And it is not allowed to make income directly or indirectly. It is not allowed to have as its purpose pala yung making of income. So, hindi pwedeng maging object niya yung making of income or profits directly or indirectly. However, class, pwede naman siyang magkaroon ng profit, but the profit must only be incidental to its operation. However, pagka nagka-profit again, pupunta tayo dun sa pangalawang pinatandaan ko sa inyo kanina, it is not distributable as dividends to the members. So, anong gagawin natin sa incidental profit na ito? The incidental profits of a non-stock corporation will be used for the furtherance of its non-stock purposes. So, kung ang purpose mo is alive, yung perang makukuha mo, sige, i-promote nyo pa yung alive purpose ng isang non-stock corporation engaged in religious activities. So, yun ang tandaan natin when it comes to incidental profits. What else? Next question. Pwede bang mag-invest ang isang non-stock corporation? So, ako na rin ang sasagot ng tanong ko, yes, non-stock corporation can invest its funds into profit-making businesses. So, remember, ang isang non-stock corporation, pwede siyang mag-invest sa isang stock corporation. So, bawal siyang mag-operate ng business. Tapos, bawal ding maging object niya ang profit-making. However, class, if it has accumulated funds, it can invest its accumulated funds for profit purposes. Yan. However, class, remember here, class, that such power to invest in other business must be included in its articles of incorporation so that it will not be considered an ultra vires act. So, remember, your non-stock corporation using its accumulated funds can invest in a stock corporation. It can also buy it can also invest in commercial papers. It can also purchase money instruments, etc., etc. But all of this should be provided for as one of the purposes of non-stock corporation. So, yung power to invest niya or should be written into the articles of incorporation as one of the purposes ng non-stock corporation. So, yun ang kailangan nating tandaan dyan. So, incidental profit, pagka nagkaroon ng incidental profit, bawal i-distribute as dividends. Ayun na nga, next na. Bawal i-distribute as dividends. Ulit ko lang sinasabi. Although, again, members can avail of other forms of assistance from the corporation. So, ulitin ko, bawal mag-engage with the object of making profit. If there are incidental profits, it cannot be distributed as dividends. And yung incidental profits will be used in the furtherance of the purposes for which a non-stock corporation was incorporated. But it is allowed to invest its accumulated funds for profit purposes as long as this is provided as one of the purposes of the non-stock corporation, or else it is ultra vires. So, also remember for number 4 or letter D, Ma'am/Sir, paano kung halimbawa hindi nga tumatanggap ng dividends sa non-stock corporation pero bumibili naman ng mga grocery items tapos pinapamigay sa mga members? So, remember, bawal yon. The Board of Trustees cannot legally pass a resolution giving some benefits to members in the form of grocery items, etc., etc., and the like. So, that is the opinion of the SEC dated December 17, 1987. So, yun ang tandaan natin. So, anyway, for this purpose, the applicable provisions are the provisions of Title 11 of the Revised Corporation Code of the Philippines, and if there are if there are things that are not provided for in Title 11, yung pertinent general provisions on stock corporations will apply suppletorily. So, ang una nating tignan, may provision ba sa Title 11? Kung walang provision sa Title 11, tignan natin yung provisions for stock corporations. Maybe it will apply also to yung non-stock natin sa non-stock corporations. Only in the absence of applicable provisions, specific provisions in Title 11, will you look to the general provisions on non-stock corporations. So anyway, take note also of the right to vote in non-stock corporations. Right to vote of members in a non-stock corporation may be limited, broadened, or even denied in the Articles of Incorporation or bylaws. So, unless it is limited, broadened, denied, each member, regardless of what kind of membership you have, is entitled to one vote sa meeting ng mga members to approve any corporate action. So, pero pwedeng i-withhold yan, tandaan nyo. What else? Unless otherwise provided in the Articles of Incorporation or the bylaws, a member may vote by proxy in accordance with the provisions of the revised code. What else? Number 3, each member shall be entitled to only one vote per candidate in the election of trustees. So, remember, pagka-election naman, member ka, you will have, yung total number of votes mo will depend on the number of trustees to be elected. So, kung 5 ang trustees to be elected, edi ang votes mo ay 5 din. So, ang ilalagay mo is 1 vote per candidate. Yun ang sinasabi sa non-stock corporation unless cumulative voting is authorized in the Articles of Incorporation or bylaws. Yan. So, pagka may cumulative voting allowed, pwede niyang i-cumulate or i-concentrate yung kanyang votes sa iisang candidate. 5 votes to 1 candidate. It will be allowed only if there is a provision allowing cumulative voting. What else? Bylaws may likewise authorize voting through remote communication and or in absentia. So, this is again brought about by the revisions doon sa code natin. How about membership in a non-stock corporation? So, remember, when it comes to membership, yung nature ng membership rights is that in the absence of any restriction, a non-stock corporation may arbitrarily exclude any person as it may see fit and the courts shall have no power to interfere. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Kung anong gusto ng non-stock corporation pagdating sa membership, arbitrary nga eh. Kung anong gusto nila, kung anong trip nila, it can exclude any person as it may see fit. And remember, the courts will have no power to interfere doon sa determination ng membership rights ng isang non-stock corporation. So, if there are no restrictions as provided for in the bylaws or in the articles, yung non-stock corporation can exclude any person as it may see fit. What else? Number 2, the manner or mode of acquisition of membership. So, remember, ang membership sa non-stock corporation, pwedeng makuha yan as provided for in the bylaws. So, there is a particular mode probably provided for in the bylaws. Now, dahil nga ito ay depende sa bylaws ng bawat isang non-stock corporation, obviously, it is not uniform sa lahat ng non-stock corporation. But anyway, if a mode of admitting new members is adopted, kailangan nilang i-follow yung procedure na yan until and unless a new procedure is adopted by the amendment of the bylaws of the non-stock corporation. What else? Pwede rin naman na if there is a provision in the bylaws na mayroong isang committee or isang body who will approve the membership, pwede rin naman yon because again, admission of members is one of the corporate powers expressly granted under Section 35. So, kung walang sinabi kung anong committee yan, kung anong body, logically class, it is the board of the trustees who will approve yung membership ng non-stock corporation. What else? Qualifications. Again, this is set forth in the bylaws. So, yung not only the qualifications, even the mode or procedure in which membership can be acquired, all set in the bylaws. Courts will have no power to interfere in the admission of members. It will also have no power to strip a member of its membership. Yan. Without any cause. So, bawal kasing mag-interfere ang courts. What else? Membership is non-transferable because this is based on personal qualifications. So, accompanied by social and other ties. So, unless it is provided for in the articles or bylaws. So, pagka may provisions sa articles and bylaws which states that membership is transferable, edi transferable siya. Huwag na tayo makipag-argue, ganun talaga. Nasa bylaws eh. So, it cannot be transferred if there is no such provision in the articles or in the bylaws. But the general rule is that it is based on personal qualifications and hence non-transferable. What else? Payment of dues and other assessment. Pwede naman yan. Of course, a non-stock corporation can collect membership dues and other assessment. Siyempre, yan ang kanilang operating fund. So, pwede nilang gawin yon. Now, if they will increase membership fees, it cannot be by a board resolution. There must be an amendment of the bylaws. Yan, remember that. What else? Termination of membership only in the manner and for the causes provided for in the articles or the bylaws of the non-stock corporation. So, all rights as a member will be terminated. Yan. What else? Dapat ang isang non-stock corporation, meron din siyang list of members and their proxies in such form as the SEC may require. So, list will be updated to reflect members and their proxies of record 20 days prior to any scheduled election. So, remember, 20 days. What about yung Board of Trustees? So, the Board of Trustees is the governing board for non-stock corporations. Now, in Section 174, non-stock corporations may designate through their articles or their bylaws yung governing boards by any other name other than as Board of Trustees. So, pwedeng Board of Regents, Board of Chancellors, Board of whatever, kung anong maisip nila. So, be creative, siguro yun ang rule dyan. Anyway, trustees have similar duties as directors of stock corporations. So, remember, for governing boards, number of trustees to be elected may or may not be more than 15, but the number of incorporating trustees shall not be more than 15. Trustees, meron silang they will hold office for a period of not more than 3 years until their successors are elected and qualified. So, yung mga trustees elected to fill vacancies will serve only for the unexpired portion of the term. So, kung 2 years na ang sinerve ng isang trustee, bigla siyang nag-resign, bigla siyang na-remove, yung kanyang successor will serve only 1 year or the unexpired portion of the term noong director na yan, ay trustee na yan. What else? Except with respect to independent trustees of non-stock corporation vested with public interest, only a member shall be elected as trustee. So, pwede ka maging trustee kung ikaw ay member. This is also in accordance with Section 13 or anyway, what else? The trustee, a candidate for trustee should also meet the qualifications for membership as prescribed in the bylaws. So, if you will think about it, class, ang mga non-stock corporation, they have yung power talaga to choose yung kanilang members. Talagang sila ang bahala kung sino ang kanilang i-admit sa kanilang non-stock corporation. What else? Officers may be directly elected by the members because usually officers are elected by the board. So, pwedeng ang officers may be directly elected by the members unless otherwise provided in the articles and the bylaws. And also, proper written notice must be sent to all members indicating date, time, and place of the meeting. This is in relation to Section 50. What else? Dissolution of a non-stock corporation. So again, upon dissolution, yung kanilang assets will not be distributed to the members. Yan. But it will be distributed in accordance with the rules laid down in Section 93, or if the corporation has a plan of distribution as defined in Section 94, pwede nilang sundin yung plan of distribution nila. Ano ba yung plan of distribution? Kung paano nila ipapamigay yung kanilang assets upon dissolution. So in short, the members cannot receive yung assets. They have to give it away to other non-stock corporations. Yan. So the rules of distribution, bayaran muna lahat ng utang. All liabilities, obligations shall be paid, satisfied, and discharged, or at least adequate provisions shall be made therefore. What else? Number 2, assets held with the condition that the same shall be returned, transferred, or conveyed shall be returned, transferred, or conveyed. So if yung asset, it is understood na after the corporation is, when the corporation is dissolving, itong mga assets na kailangang ibabalik na nila. Yung mga assets na kailangang ibenta, kailangan nilang ibenta. But remember, assets held with the condition. So, ito, pinahiram lang sa non-stock yan. So, ang condition is that ibalik. Ito, transfer sa non-stock. But there's a condition that it should also be so transferred or so conveyed. So, remember, what else? Number 3, assets which are allowed only to be used for charitable, religious, ano na nga ba ito? Charitable, religious, or benevolent, educational, or other similar purposes but not subject to return, transfer, or conveyance. Ito yung mga assets na hindi na kailangang ibalik, i-transfer, or i-convey. So, they will be transferred to one or more corporations, societies, or organizations engaged in activities in the Philippines substantially similar to those of the dissolving corporation. So, in short, para mas madali niyong maintindihan, kung ang corporation ay alive, pagka nag-dissolve sila, tapos yung asset na yun is not to be returned, transferred, or conveyed to whoever gave it, etc., etc., kailangan nilang i-donate yan sa non-stock corporation na meron ding alive purpose. So, kung charitable, donate to other charitable non-stock corporations. So, kung fraternal yan, donate to other corporations with similar purposes. So, assets other than those mentioned shall be distributed in accordance with the provisions of the articles or bylaws to the members. But remember, this must not be equivalent to a distribution of dividends or assets in violation of the provisions of the revised corporation code regarding non-stock corporation. So, ito yung mga ibang assets pa. What else? And the other case, yung assets may be distributed to such persons, societies, organizations, or corporations, whether or not organized for profit as may be specified in a plan of distribution. So, tignan natin kung ano yung nasa plan of distribution, doon natin siya i-distribute. So, usually the plan of distribution is a mere resolution by the Board of Trustees. Doon mag-uumpisa yan. So, it is approved by majority vote, tapos submitted to approval during a meeting of the members. So, yung meeting of members na yan, dapat meron siyang notice, obviously, and not only notice of the time and place of meeting, but dapat meron ding proposed, ilalagay dyan yung proposed plan of distribution or a summary thereof. Tapos, lahat ng members will be given yung notice na to within the time and manner provided for in the revised code. And dun sa mismong meeting, the plan of distribution shall be adopted upon approval of at least 2/3 of the members having voting rights or who are present or at least represented by proxy during the meeting. So anyway, that's it for non-stock corporations. Please again stand by for Title 12 close corporations. Thank you, and again, have a good day, class.